What's up, all my Ewoks, tribbles, droids, and Wookiees? It's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and today I am celebrating a very special milestone. My channel just passed 150,000 subscribers. So thank you from the bottom of my heart so much to every single one of you, because it wouldn't be possible without any of you. I wouldn't even have a YouTube channel if it wasn't for you guys. And, you know, I never intended to have a YouTube channel. I just went to the movie theaters one day to see a movie I thought was going to be the next Empire Strikes Back. And it was the monstrosity, atrocity, you know, insult that it was, and my blood was boiling. I thought I was getting punked, and then I found out it was real, and I went on Facebook, and I was like, what the fuck was that? That was not Star Wars, like The Last Jedi. Fuck that movie. Don't watch it. And everyone I'd ever known in my entire life was like, what do you mean you don't like a Star Wars movie? So I was sending messages to all these people, and I'm like, I can't do this. I'll just make a video, and the video I made was too long to post on Facebook, so I just posted it here, and everyone that asked me about it, I'm like, here's a link to this video, go watch it. There you go. That's my explanation on why I hate this fucking movie. And then other people that weren't my friends and family watched it, and it was, you know, it was one of those life-changing moments where I'm like, oh my god, I found my people, like people that understood my pain. And, you know, because it's painful, like still to this day. It's been years, but it's like, that broke my heart. It was like, you know, watching what they did to Luke, and like first what I watched in The Force Awakens with Han, and the entire universe just getting destroyed. I'm like, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be this wouldn't happen. Han Solo would never do that. Leia, Luke, none of that would have ever happened. There must be an explanation, and it's going to be awesome, and we're going to see it. It's going to be like The Empire Strikes Back, and then it was and like people didn't understand that. And so when I found this community, and, you know, the fandom minutes before, you know, it even had a name, and we all kind of came together, it was like, it was one of those amazing moments in my life where it's like, I found my people. And I'm so grateful, because it was the first time in my entire life where I'm like, I felt like this is where I belong. And, you know, these are the people that, you know, understand my heart and my soul, and why I love this so much, and why it's not just a movie to me. And so with this milestone coming up, I was, you know, I was like hesitant. I'm like, really? Like, no, this isn't gonna happen. It's gonna max out, you know, at a certain point. And then I reached 100,000 subscribers, and I was like, holy shit, no way. And I was, you know, I was blown away. And I did the video where I opened the box, and I'm like, oh my god, thank you. And, you know, I was like, this is, you know, yes, there's, you know, 7 billion people in the world, but how many, you know, what are the chances of, you know, more finding my channel? Like, that was more, like, even having over 100 subscribers was like, holy shit, it was beyond my wildest dreams. And now I'm at 150, and I'm just like, well, what should I do? Like, what should I do to celebrate? And I've been working on this video for a while, and it was an art video, and YouTube hates it, absolutely hates it when I do art videos. But I love it, and, you know, because that's what I do. You know, I'm an artist, and people like it. The response that I get from my art videos are, you know, 99.9% positive. YouTube just hates it for some reason. And I've been working on this art video where I'm painting Qui Gon, if you hadn't guessed from the thumbnail. And, you know, I've just been editing, and I hate editing, so it's a pain in the butt. And I decided, you know what, this number's coming up. Why don't, for me, you know, to celebrate this, why don't I share my #1 passion with all of you guys on, you know, a character that I know a majority of you guys love. And, you know, let me just talk a little bit about my passion and what drives me, because when I was little, I watched Star Wars, and at the end of the VHS, they had the special with Ralph McQuarrie and George Lucas explaining how when he would go pitch Star Wars, nobody could picture it because they'd never seen anything like that. And so he went and found an artist, Ralph McQuarrie, to paint him this concept art of Star Wars. And that is what sold Star Wars to the studios, because they could finally see it. And so that was, I wanted to be an astronaut, couldn't, because I'm not good at math and I'm not tall enough. And I was like, that's what I can do. If I can't go into outer space, I can create these things. And so that's what drives me, is being able to create things that only exist in here, or see an image of someone like Qui-Gon that we've all seen and give my own little take on it. So to celebrate 150,000 subscribers, here is an art video of me painting Qui-Gon. Alright everyone, before we get into today's painting, I just wanted to go over my color palette because I've been asked about it a few times, and I just wanted to go over all of the colors for everyone. But if you want to skip ahead to the actual painting, go to this timestamp that's shown on the screen now. So let's start with black and white. Now, I consider these essential to every artist palette. You don't have to use them if you don't want to, but they're kind of essential. So there's a bunch of different shades of black and white, but the one that I use is ivory black and then titanium white. These are the best ones. Use them. I recommend it. They're great. Now, let's go over into warm hues. So we're going to start with Terra Rosa. This is a very pigmented shade, so a little goes a long way. Then we have Cadmium Red Light, Cadmium Yellow, and then Cerulean Blue. Yes, blue can be warm. Cerulean Blue is definitely on the warmer side of things. And then we have Ultramarine Blue, which is now in the cool hues. And you can just tell the second you put these two colors down on a palette how much warmer Cerulean is compared to Ultramarine Blue. And then we have Yellow Ochre, Alizarin Crimson. This is my favorite color to paint with. I love Alizarin Crimson, especially with oils. It is so beautiful, and it can do so many different things, either in light or in shadow. It's a great color to paint with. And then we have Burnt Umber. Now, I don't use this color very often, but because I'm painting hair and cloth, I do use it in this painting. And then last but not least, we have Viridian. Now this is a very cool green, and this is one of the main, what I use as the hue for the main light source of this painting, because Qui Gon is being lit by a warm light, and then a secondary light source, which is his lightsaber, which is the cool Viridian shade. So I love to do paintings where colors and hues mash, and so since he's being lit by two different light sources, and one of the light sources is warm and the other is cool, it creates this really awesome effect in the shadows. So without further ado, let's get on to painting Qui Gon. Now, what I usually start off by doing is just sketching out the face. This does not need to be a detailed sketch. Actually, I would highly recommend doing a very minimal sketch because you're just going to be painting over everything. Now, with this painting, because Qui-Gon is a human, I'm going to be painting all of the undertones that you are going to see. So as you watch this video, you're going to see I'm going to constantly be painting over certain parts. Not only is that to get the colors to blend correctly, it's also to build up that paint, because when you're working with oils, and this is why I prefer oils to acrylics, is oils takes a very long time to dry, and because of that, you're able to get this, in a way, layered and more realistic, in my opinion, effect, because you're able to do a base coat and coloring like you're seeing I'm doing right now with the warm greens and then the warm undertones, because again, Qui-Gon is a human. He has red blood like all humans do. So everything about his skin is going to have warm undertones, even though I'm going to go in later and add the cool lighting and paint those cool colors on top of the warm. Now, as you can already see, the light sources are being established, so you can very much tell which part of his face is in the light, where the dominant light is coming from and which is in shadow. And you can see me building up those colors and going in now with the cooler green on top of that warm green, and adding in the rim light, which is from the lightsaber that's illuminating the side of his face. Because I think what a lot of people, especially when they're just starting out with painting or even when it comes to drawing, is they don't know that there's color within shadows. And that to me is one of the most fun parts of creating art and of painting, is there's so much within the shadows that people don't really realize is there. And that's because it's reflective light, because even in the darkest, places, there's still light, there's still something there. It's just a matter of how you see it, and if you want to see it, and if you will see it. And I love doing that. I love pulling out those shapes and colors within shadows and working with reflective light. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I'm so drawn to doing dual light sources, because when you have a light that's dominant and you go in with another light source that's not as dominant, but it has this vivid color like the Viridian I'm adding in now to the background, it it just creates this fascinatingly cool effect, in my opinion, and I love to do that in my painting. So that's why whenever you see my work, I always try to use different types of light sources to play with light and to play with color. And even going in and adding that rim light to his hair as well, it makes it pop, and it helps to create that three-dimensional form on, just a flat canvas. So now you're going to watch as I start filling in his beard and then his lips. Now, there's different techniques to painting both. The one that I learned that I like to use to emulate hair is the same one that you would see someone like John Singer Sargent or Rembrandt using, where I just fill in where the light and the shadow would be. I wait a little bit for it to dry. I build it up on top of that where even the lighter parts would be, and you keep building it up in both places. So that way, when you do get down to the time when you are going to start being able to add detail, it will really pop. Just like any other part of the face, as you can see, I'm painting in his neck right now, and you can see the vibrance and the color in his neck. That's because we have a lot of, blood rushing through the neck to our head, so it is going to be not only a darker color, but it is going to be a little bit more saturated in those warm hues as compared to the yellows that are shown on his face, because his head is closer to the light source than his neck would be. And as you see me fill in the beard, you'll see me add those little bits of highlights, and then I'm going to go in with a different brush and stroke up from that, and then you take that brush, you clean it off, and then you do it again. That way the paint doesn't get muddy, and you can still have that little bit of emulation of hair. And then when you go in at the end and finally use the last brush to add in those highlights, it's going to look like hair. And from far away, it will very much look like hair, and then you stand up close to it, like someone's painting, like a John Singer Sargent or a Rembrandt. From far away across the room, it looks like hair, and then you get up close, and it's like, wow, that's only a few brush strokes. And that's something that I really like in their work, and those are two of the masters that, I tend to favor over others. And so when I try to emulate some of their techniques, I always go for those little tricks that they used. Now that I'm at about 60% done with this painting, you're going to see me go and, like I said in the beginning, start painting over certain areas that I've already done to continue to add and to build up that color, even in the shadows, adding those little highlights, blending them in, adding in more shadows to the color that's already there. That way it's built up upon the colors that already exist, and those are allowed to shine through. Now I'm going in and adding in the details to the beard, because it is at that point of the process, and you can see how as I add it to his beard and to his hair, it makes it pop and it looks like hair. Now, as you can see, I'm going in and finally adding in the color to his Jedi robes with both the base color where the light is coming from, the green from the lightsaber, and you're going to see me really go in and establish where the edges are with the folds, and then the light and the shadow as well. Now, the reason why I save this part of the canvas in particular for last is because I tend to get paint everywhere, and since I am more predominantly right-handed, having that part of the canvas left unpainted is kind of nice for me, because I'll end up even more covered in paint and I'll end up smudging it no matter how hard I try to not. It's gonna happen, so I always save this part of the canvas for last regardless of what it is. Now you can see how I'm going in directly with some white, or I should say it's a little bit of white mixed with Viridian, because I never would go in with just pure white in the shadow area. But one of the things that I see people shy away from is giving those hard edges, and when you're establishing folds in fabric, you need to be able to do that. And it's okay if you mess up, paint it again. It's not like it's set in stone yet. It has not dried, and if it did dry, paint over it. It's fine. No harm done. So establishing where warm light meets a cool light source that's in the shadow, it is going to be a little bit tricky for somebody that hasn't taken color theory to get that core shadow correct in the way that the coloring is. And as it might look off right now with I have those warm hues in the core shadow, it's going to make sense as I blend it out and the way that the fabric is. Now I'm going in and finally adding the little bit of details into his face. This is, I think, almost every artist's favorite part, is because you've been working for so long on this thing and you're finally adding in those last little details. This is like the last 5% of the painting process, and it just adding those little bits of tweaks just bring it all to life. And now I've been staring at a blank canvas, and now here we are, and it's Qui Gon, and he's staring at me. Every hair, every wrinkle, those piercing eyes, that's him. It's Qui Gon. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed watching me paint Qui Gon. Now that was an image that, was professionally shot by me on my boyfriend's phone, because his camera is much better than mine. And here is the painting. So this is it. It's nice and framed. It is 14 by 18, and it is a thicker canvas, so this is a bit of a thicker frame, and it's all done, varnish is done, it's framed, and it is going to be shipped off to its home very, very soon. But as you can see, there's little nuances in it. My lighting on my camera is a bit different, so it's a little bit more saturated because I have to do adjustments, because my camera always makes me look green like this. And I'm not down to be looking like an Orion, so I gotta edit that. So the lighting on here is a little bit off, but this is so you can see just the size comparison and kind of what it looks like in real life. Here it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please like it and share it, so that way YouTube doesn't kill the algorithm for it, because these are actually my favorite videos to do, and YouTube just absolutely hates it. It hates promoting artwork, which is unfortunate. But if you guys are interested, because this already belongs to someone, it's going off to its future home very, very soon. But if you guys like it, I do have prints of it available on my Etsy, and I also have this image available on my merchandise on Teespring, if you guys are ever interested in that. And just a little inside peek into my next art video, because I've been working a lot, but I've also been painting a lot, and I decided after this, because I'm always hesitant to paint something with Star Wars, just because it's something that I love, to my very core, and I feel like I just can't do it justice. But everyone's like, no, Anna, paint Star Wars, and I'm like, okay. So after playing KOTOR 1 and 2, I fell in love with those games and the characters, and so I decided to paint HK, and so the video of me painting him will be out very soon. It looks a lot more red on this camera than it does in real life, so trust me, it's true to the color of the character. So stay tuned for that. And then everyone, just thank you again so much for supporting my channel, for being subscribed, for being, active in this community and the fandom menace, being active in my channel, in the comment sections, over on Twitter, on Instagram, on my Discord. Thank you so much. It truly means the world to me, and so that's why it's like I love sharing this part of who I am with you guys, because, Star Wars is in my heart and soul, but it was just, I feel like ever since I can remember, I've always been drawing, I've always been painting, I've always been trying to create, and so I get, the most enjoyment out of sharing that side of myself with people. So it sucks that YouTube doesn't like these kind of videos, but it is what it is. What can you do? But so please, if you liked this, let me know what you think in the comment section below, and if there's any characters that you would like to see me do in the future. And until next time, everyone, again, thank you so much, and may the Force be with you, because we are really, 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 in the best way possible, gonna need it. Bye, everyone.